Hey guys, welcome back to Accursed Brew. My name's Anthony, and today I'm, as always, with Azzy.
Yeah, hey, big thick daddy and big thick gaming fans and fanboys.
Are you ready to talk about your first impressions of South of Midnight, Azriel?
Oh my god, I didn't know what to say, dude. I wanted to make it funny, but it just ended up coming out like a mess.
Fuck it, we ball.
Yeah, everybody's a thick daddy.
so much for the kid-friendly first 5 minutes or whatever we were trying to do. You're like big, thick daddies covered in oil.
I didn't have the oil part, dog. That was you.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, definitely. So today, yeah, first
Thick little
impressions.
Latina feet. What?
Ooh, we'll be tackling the South of Midnight, doing a first impressions on it. Just to throw it out there, this game was developed by the same studio that brought you 2013's Contrast, 2018's We Happy Few rather, Compulsion Game Studio. This time around, though, they're bringing to the table a third-person action adventure game taking place in the south of the U.S. with like this super. I mean, this is slowly becoming like my favorite kind of aesthetic, like this mix between gothic meets like stop motion animation, and it just makes for like a really cool vibe all the way through the game. Well, I mean, at least through the parts of the game that we've been so far.
I said on stream while I was streaming it, it reminded me so much of James and the Giant Peach, which is one of my favorite like movies visually anyway. So this was like right up my alley.
Oh yeah, I mean, it matches that aesthetic like perfectly, dude. They nailed down that's the look. That's when they pitched the game. They put that movie on. You sat through it, and you were
I'm
like,
sure.
"We're making
I'm
a
sure
game."
because it's the literally like the pacing of like the characters moving, how the backgrounds look, how everything has like because it's stop motion. It's not quite claymation. Obviously, it's animated, but it has that depth and feel. It's very, very well done.
Yeah, no, it's a really beautiful game and definitely something worth checking out. But with that in mind, we were going to jump into our TLDRs on this to give you an idea of whether or not you should or shouldn't pick up the game. And then if you need any more convincing one way or the other, we're going to spend the rest of the video after that discussing some of the things that we highlight right now, just a little bit more in depth. And then hopefully from that, you'll be able to get a better idea of kind of how you feel. But off the bat, my TLDR is, the game is on Game Pass. It's definitely worth checking out if you already own it. Should you buy Game Pass specifically for this? I would say probably because there's just such a plethora of games on there. You're not going to run short if you're not liking this. Full
Yeah, you're gonna get to play
$40.
Doom next month anyway. So
I mean, exactly. Yeah, like if you do it now, the timing on that might be almost perfect.
I think it is. I think looking at release dates that we had set up,
Oh, it's
yeah,
to
the
the day.
14th.
Yeah, it's
The
to
14th, yeah.
it's to this specific day. But yeah, you'll be able to check out Doom and things like that. So at the very least, it's worth checking out if you got it. And then also, picking it up as well. But for the full $40, it's kind of a tough purchase. I think it's going to be one of those things where you have to decide whether or not you can sort of put aside the lackluster gameplay, the combat, in favor of the story and the aesthetic, right? Like if you're somebody who needs that sort of gameplay loop to keep you engaged, this might not be it for you. But if you're willing to put that aside in favor of everything else this game has to have, because it's beautiful, sounds great, looks great, you're gonna love it. But that's my recommendation. Game Pass, yes. Full price, maybe not. But what do you think, man?
The exact same. I think it's hard to justify spending. So like right now I'm living on a budget and it's very hard for me to justify spending 40, 50, $60 on one game when Game Pass Ultimate is what, 16.99 a month, 15.99 a month. It's like I can get 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate for one purchase of this game. Which why wouldn't I just get the 3 months of Ultimate? In my opinion, that's how I think of it when I'm on like an
Yeah,
actual budget. But it's up to you. I mean, if you're set on owning your games, you're set on owning your games. That's your choice.
yeah, exactly. So, um, yeah, I mean, it really just depends. And you say owning your games, owning your
They can still take it away at
license.
any fucking point from you. Yeah, it
Yes.
doesn't matter.
It's so bogus. That's a topic for another day that I think we might want to discuss. It's very interesting. But regardless, we want to jump in, just, kind of touching on things a little bit more in depth now, starting off with the world, the atmosphere, the art design, just the sort of general look and sound of the game. Just to kind of kick it right off, man. I mean, the game is beautiful. The lighting in the game is phenomenal. There's a clip you'll probably see later on in the video, just kind of showcasing when you first meet like the big catfish. There's like this doorway behind it with like this, god rays shooting right through. It's just such a beautiful setup. And then also too, just as you mentioned with the James and the Giant Peach sort of vibe, that animation that they have on them feels really cool. You know, like it's really engaging to like kind of watch and see how they're gonna emote, how they're gonna sort of interact with different objects and things like that. The game itself is pretty uh like the environment, there's not much you can really do with it. You know, a lot of things are kind of just set up for you to interact with, and if they're not, that's kind of it. You know, everything's kind of very, I can't think of the right word. It's very like firm in place. Not the best way to put that. There's probably a better way. I can't think of
I
it at the
was
moment.
I was gonna say the level design and like the platforming of it reminded me of not in a bad way, in a almost good way of like early PS1 games where it was like a Spyro or something where it's
Yeah.
pretty basic. You could see the three ledges that are within reach from you. You could use different things to get over there. A little more detailed, obviously, because it is modern, but I do think it was. I would compare it to a simple good PlayStation 1 level, pretty linear, pretty straightforward, but that's not the focus of the game like you were talking about. It's the art style and the telling the story and flexing their visuals because they did a wonderful job on those things.
Yeah, absolutely. The game, it's a beautiful game. But yeah, man, I mean, get into like the you were talking before about sort of what the game was based on. You mentioned like
Yeah,
the mythology and
it's
things
down in
like
the
that.
bayou, down in the good old bayou, some
Hell yeah.
Louisiana mythology. You got some good I would compare it a lot to think of like Oh Brother Where Art Thou, where it's very
Yes.
weird, strange, magical slash mythical, but has like the American Southern spin on it. And the bayou is very different from the regular American South too. America's a very big place. So there's a lot of different sections of it that have very different uh quote unquote styles, I guess, and how they go about their stories. And I think that the bayou has some of the coolest stories out there, especially with like the Benji stuff, and we'll get into that. We're not going to spoil too much about the story, but if you're still watching to this point, like it's pretty early on that this goes through. But you get like good music mixed in with these visuals that all like coincide and work together really well to tell like a very specific story and vision that's based off of real stories that they had. And I think that's awesome. Like I think it's cool to explore some of the lesser lesser valued mythology that certain places do have to offer, because I do think there's very cool things in everything if you look hard enough.
Yeah, I totally agree on that, man. And that was one point I wanted to hit on, was the fact that it's really refreshing to see sort of a, like more of a unique take. Like honestly, modern day fantasy and like magic and things like that have a very like sort of you walk into it knowing exactly what the rules are, how things are going to function, what to expect. Like if you give somebody crumbs about how this game's magic system work, or like kind of what to expect from the fantasy story, like they could probably tell you a decent chunk of what's going to happen just based on everything else that they've seen in contemporary like sort of gaming and literature and so on. So it's really refreshing, kind of getting that like sort of unique look. And again, like you said, like oftentimes looked over magic systems, mythology, things like that. And then not only taking the time to kind of do the work and to kind of bring it to life, but then also doing it well, man. I mean, that's one thing that they can absolutely
You could
attest
tell
to.
it's a love letter. It's a love letter to these stories. There's probably multiple people on the team who grew up in the area who heard these stories and stuff and wanted to bring them to life, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's really nice to see. Yeah, I mean, I love the game for that. I think the game absolutely knocks it out of the park, and honestly, in a lot more ways than like some modern day AAA games do when it comes to this sort of world, the atmosphere, and things like that. Especially
Well, I
too.
mean, compare it to like Assassin's Creed Shadows, which you just spent a good amount of time in, and like how they barely touched on the sick ass Japanese mythology that there is. Like,
Yeah, like the world looks good, but like it feels very like um what's it doesn't feel very creative. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm getting like the bare minimum of what I should expect out of that game in particular is what I'm talking about, Assassin's Creed.
yeah,
So seeing this game kind of like really send it is it's just fun, man. It's a really good time. One last thing I wanted to hit on before we jump into the sort of gameplay of the game is going to be the voice acting. I think the voice acting in this game too, it feels very real. It feels very like believable. It's really enjoyable to kind of hear the characters like kind of speak with one another, whether it's the catfish, the mom, some of the neighbors, some of the other sort of, creatures and things like that too in the world. I don't know, like it's just really refreshing to hear what it sounds like you said, like it's like a love letter. Like they really put that time and effort into these systems
Yeah.
more so than some of the
I
rest.
haven't
But
done the go ahead, sorry.
no, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just really nice. But yeah, go for it, man.
I haven't done the research on it, so I can't say for sure, but it does seem to me like they used actual voice actors who were from that region and had that accent. Granted, actors are very incredible. I'm sure they could pull off lots of different accents, but there was something in the delivery and the way that they use certain words. Either the writers were from the area or the voice actors themselves were, because it was legit. Like it was real.
Yeah, it felt yeah, like it really felt like you were listening to somebody that ought to be there. You know what I mean? And like you don't
Yeah.
get that super often. So I don't know. It's just really cool to say. Really cool to see. Rather, there's not much more that I feel like I could say to really drive home the fact that when it comes to like that world, that atmosphere, sort of the environment, things like that they created. I think they just nailed it, dude. They just nailed it. They hit it out of the park. Um,
By
but yeah,
far the strongest point of the game, and I don't think we've touched on the music as much as I
no,
would like to,
yeah, go
because I
for it.
do think that that is before we move on to gameplay, because I don't think there's another point to talk about the music. I think that it was absolutely stellar. Like again, very central to the story, similar to what I mentioned earlier, like "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," where it's very like folky and it's there to like tell you a story. It's not going to make the most sense. It's not going to be like a hit song or anything, but it's going to go through everything and tell you a real story in a beautiful way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree, dude. Honestly, you put it perfectly. There's not much more I could add to that. Yeah, it's really beautiful, and it's definitely something to where again, like what as you were saying earlier with Game Pass, it's on there. Definitely check it out for this alone. If you like these aspects of a game and you can really appreciate them, I think that in of itself is enough to scoop it up and try it out. Um,
Put it on easy, fly through it in 8 hours, and just experience it. That would be my recommendation if the gameplay doesn't interest you.
yeah, and speaking of that, man, the gameplay of the game, and so
It didn't interest me, that's for sure.
yeah, dude, it's so rudimentary, it's so basic, it's so just like they give you options, they give you tools, they like say, hey, you can stun, you can push, you can pull, blah blah blah, but like it just doesn't really feel all that fun to do, like it doesn't, it feels like I just want to hurry up and get through this encounter, and just move on. I am playing on the
I don't
recommended difficulty, but man, it's just not fun to engage with.
I tried the recommended difficulty and I gave it a good shot. 2 fights in, I immediately just like lowered all difficulty besides boss difficulty, which again, it does give you those options like Adam Fall, like other games that we've talked about where you can kind of tweak your exact sliders, which I think is wonderful in difficulty settings. Because it just gives you more freedom to experience the game that you want. I, however, would compare it to I don't know if you ever played like Gen 1 first patch Lords of the Fallen.
I've never even heard
Um,
of Lords of the.
I
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
That's a
it's
the
like a
Elder.
Dark Souls, like
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
style type game, like a Souls-like. It felt very, at least to me, the combat was baby's first Souls-like, and in the most like you said, rudimentary, dumbed down, basic ways that took out the fun of like what makes a Souls-like interesting. Um, trying to have hardcore aspects without being actually hardcore and just like coming across as like needlessly difficult and annoying.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good way to sum it up. Pretty much is that it is just needlessly difficult. Like it very much is one of those things that you just want to lower all the way down and just kind of like quickly get through because all the other story beats, all the other like environments, all the other characters you get to meet, are just so. I mean, they're so fucking cool. Like that's what you want to spend your time with.
Yeah,
Um, and so you just want to get there as quick
I,
as possible.
you want to get to the next song, the next cutscene, the next area. Like that's the driving force behind the game. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying if you look for gameplay first, this isn't your game.
Yeah, exactly. If you need that loop, definitely skip. Yeah, I mean the only other thing is that the enemies are they're just not really engaging to fight. Like it doesn't like you're just I don't know, dude. You're just like smacking wet noodles. Well, I guess maybe not wet, but like somewhat dry, somewhat wet noodles or
Damp
whatever.
noodles.
Yeah, damp noodles. Because I mean it hurts
Some
them, but like it
some
takes a
al
long time.
dente noodles you're smacking around.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I need my noodles. I need them done. I need them to because isn't al dente mean they're like kind of not done so they can finish cooking when you're
Al dente means like right before they're done, where they have like a little core to them. I like al dente like mac and cheese, but like not like spaghetti.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And this game is like mac and cheese, dude. When you needed spaghetti. So if you like spaghetti, guys, this ain't it. But I feel like that could not have been
Our
in.
comparisons are bad shit crazy. I love it.
I was gonna say I don't think
If you like spaghetti, this game's for you.
I don't think that could
What are
be
we
any
doing?
less useless. I feel like if I heard somebody say that, I don't know, dude. Not much I could pull away from,
Anyway,
that.
down in the comments, let us know what pasta this game reminds you of. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know, guys. It's a rough one out here. It's just the gameplay is just not it, dude. As you could tell from,
It's very couscous.
Oh my goodness. Oh, but yeah, I mean, the only other thing we really wanted to hit on before we hit you guys with our closing thoughts are some of the performance, or when it comes to performance, the bugs and things like that. Really simple. The game, I think, runs pretty well. I'm not really coming across any sort of like memory loss, issues. I'm not having a bunch of crashes, not a lot of bugs, or at least any bugs that I could see. It feels pretty good to just kind of play. There's really no issues to report on that. And the game gives you a good set of settings to kind of work with. But yeah, man, I mean, how's your mileage been with the game so far? Have you had any sort of like big
I
issues or
mean,
anything?
if you've watched the channel before, you know that I'm not working with the best hardware. And the game I ran until like the first boss fight where it got kind of graphically intense. I was running it on ultra everything with no problems, and it looked beautiful, like absolutely gorgeous. I had to lower a couple things just because I don't have like an RTX capable graphics card, and they do utilize that in some points. Um, so I experienced when there was a lot of lighting differences and effects going on. I did experience some slowdown, but even on a 2060, it was still running really really well. I'd never had a crash. I never had it, um, any major failures or anything. I was able to play the game pretty smoothly the entire time on ultra with not great hardware.
Yeah, so it's really nice to see. They definitely I think for the most part they did a pretty good job with this, at least from my experience so far. Again, your mileage may vary when it comes to like bugs and issues and things like that, but at least from the both of us, it was looking pretty good. But yeah, man, I mean, closing thoughts, anything that you have in mind that you wanted to hit on before we wrap things up?
Not really, besides the fact that, like, I know we've touched on it multiple times before, but I still want to keep singing the praises of Game Pass being an avenue for games like this to be made. I think, whatever your feelings are on Game Pass, we've had a lot of people get oddly angry at us in the comments for enjoying Game Pass. But that's to each his own. Whatever your opinions are, you may have them. And we like those comments because it provides engagement. So, hey, help the algo, yell at us, tell us we're wrong. But no, for real, I think it's important for there to be an avenue for artistic games like this with a little bit of a bigger budget, because you could definitely tell that there are bigger budget things that had to happen for this game, and Xbox Game Studios was able to kind of, find a platform their own to publish something that, in my opinion, wouldn't have worked in many other places. If this was a full like regular release and people had to spend $40, it's $40, right?
Yeah, it's $40.
Yeah, people had to spend full price $40 on this when a game like Split Fiction came out, 3 weeks before. It's very difficult to find a audience for a game like this, but I'm still so glad it exists because I was able to experience something different. And I think being able to push the art form in different ways is great for all of gaming. Whether you like it or not, it's helping other games in the future.
Yeah, exactly. There's really not too much more I could add on to that, man. I think that's a really good way of putting it. Xbox Game Studios, love them or hate them, man. They really enable devs to kind of really branch out and bring to the table, again, like we said earlier, like a really unique sort of game when it comes to like at least the art design, the look of and feel, the sort of premise of it. Gameplay, obviously not really it. But you win some, you lose some. But I mean, they enable devs to do that, and that's really awesome to see. So, can't like you said, can't sing enough praise for that aspect of gaming, having them in place. But yeah, I mean, as we said earlier, when it comes to whether or not I'd recommend you pick it up, if you haven't decided by now, like I said, you got Game Pass, definitely worth downloading, checking out. An hour or two in, you will know whether or not you like the game. Should you get Game Pass specifically for it? I think that might be kind of a hard sell if you're not already sold on the plethora of games that the platform has. But if you really haven't taken a look, I would definitely say it's an easy buy because you're going to find something on it you like. Full price, unless you're really liking the game, you identify with that story, or you just really want to give back to those devs, I would say in those cases you should pick it up. But again, I think you have cheaper avenues, and I think you have much more sort of like variety at hand if it doesn't work out for you to kind of
Bro,
pick from.
I'm so sorry, but if they have a physical special edition of this game with like an art book or something, I would buy that in a second. I think that would be so sick.
Oh, that would be
I don't know
beautiful,
if they
dude.
do. I'm just talking out of my ass. Like that, like I would give them $80 for that. Like that's sick as shit.
Oh my god, yeah. They do. So I'm looking at it right now. They have a from Cook and Becker. They have an art book, and dude, okay, I'm gonna throw this up on screen for you guys right now.
Yeah, please do.
But here, I'm gonna do this for you as well. We're doing this live, boys. I gotta
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
doing it live. Boom. Bro, look at those
Mm.
vinyls. Dude, those look
Oh,
so
this was
clean.
made for us. This was made for us. Never mind. I saw the price.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's not made for me. That's for sure.
I don't know if I'd spend
It's made for
140
somebody,
bucks.
but 160-page art. But like you could see as he's clicking through this video, like it's very cool art. Like that's that crocodile, like aluminum metal sign or whatever it is. Like that looks like something you'd see driving down the road in bumblefuck nowhere.
Itching, yeah. But no, man. I mean, it's very beautiful to see. So I don't know. It's just great. It's just one of those things where it's really cool that it was made. I'm really glad that it was. I love that the fact that there's a studio, or I guess I don't know what Xbox. I think Xbox Game Studios is in the name. There's a studio out there that's willing to kind of like put the money into these sort of projects.
Yeah, there's a small studio. They're named Microsoft.
Yeah, they're nothing big. They're little guys still. They're on their come up. But no, I mean, it's cool to see that they're making it happen. But yeah, I mean, with that, dude, unless there's anything else you wanted to jump on, uh, just wanted to let everybody know that I love you guys very much. It's kind of a weird situation I'm in where I love you too much, but that's okay.
It happens. I mean, the only thing that I need from them is I need to know, again, I'm putting the question out there, what type of pasta does this game remind you of? And be specific. I want like, it's like my grandma's chicken parm. Like I want that. Like go crazy with it.
Yeah, definitely. So, like the video if you guys enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and then comment your favorite pasta. Comment the kind of pasta you eat when you're having a bad day. Maybe even the type of pasta this game, kind of speaks to you with, right? Like if like say angel hair noodles or like let us know.
Make sure that you check out our video next Friday. We're going to be having a conversation about pasta. So we're switching directions with this channel. We're going to be moving into a overall starchy direction, but I think it's a good situation because we're kind of narrowing down our niche.
Yeah, for sure. And then first impressions, beginning of May on potatoes. So we'll let you guys know how that goes. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
That's it. That's it. I'm done. All right. Love you. Bye.
Yeah, I love you guys. Peace.